If you're burned out at your job, stop waiting for your situation to magically improve. Take action to relieve your burnout by setting boundaries. If you don't, your burnout will just keep snowballing out of control. In today's video, I'm going to give you 3 boundaries you need to set to keep your burnout from taking over. And then I'm going to give you actions that you can put in place to set those boundaries. And stay until the end because I am going to share a major lesson that I learned that helped me recover from burnout and start living life on my terms. Okay, boundary number 1, task overload boundary, aka multitasking. Did you know that your brain needs up to 23 minutes to reset or refocus when your attention has been interrupted? Multitasking simply does not work, and there have been studies to prove this. Still, we insist on multitasking. And I know that sometimes your job kind of requires it. When I was a principal and before that a teacher, I was multitasking all day long, every day. And at the end of the day, I would go home completely spent, exhausted, and I would crumble on the couch in a pile, not wanting to do anything. I don't know if you've experienced that before, but if you have, please drop it in the comments below. And here's the thing, constant multitasking is like a petri dish of overwhelm and decision fatigue. Boundary number 2, work-life balance boundary. This is when your work hours start expanding beyond the normal work hours, or you're taking work home to finish it, accepting phone calls or answering emails on your personal time. This is a bad habit to get into, and if you are in that bad habit, set this boundary tomorrow, straight away. I'll give you a perfect example of this. I used to tell my teachers all the time, whatever you do, do not give parents your personal phone number. But some of them insisted on doing it. And boy, did they regret it, because here's the thing. Most people will be respectful, but not everyone. When you don't set this boundary, you are teaching people and training people that you're available 24/7 whenever they need to get in contact with you, and they can make demands whenever they wish. Now, my teachers thought that they were being helpful, but what they were really doing is telling people, you know what? It's okay if you disrespect my personal time. It may feel good at the beginning, but at some point it's going to catch up with you and it's going to feel like a heavy burden. Boundary number 3 is the communication boundary. Now, have you set expectations about how quickly you're going to respond to emails, messages, and phone calls, or any type of communication at all? If not, then you're creating pressure to always be on. And this is going to totally disrupt your focus and leave you stressed out. So now those are the 3 boundaries that you need to set: the task overload boundary, the work-life balance boundary, and the communication boundary. But how do you do it? Well, I'm going to give you 5 actions that you can take immediately to start setting these boundaries. So action number 1 is to clearly communicate your availability and your response times. This means putting it in your email signature line that you answer emails within 24 hours, for example, or to have it in your voicemail message, and also to remind people verbally. If someone says, hey, you haven't responded to such and such email yet, say, well, I checked my emails an hour ago and I typically don't check them for another hour, so I'll get to it then. Make sure that you hold people to the boundaries you're setting unless it's some kind of an emergency and it absolutely 100% cannot wait, and it's something that doesn't happen very often. Okay, the second action you can take is to block your time. I personally use this and it works so well. So blocking your time means that for the repetitive tasks that you have. So if it's checking your email, or for me, I have a writing block, then you do it at specific times. If email is really important, maybe you have a time in the morning that you check it. You could say like from 9 to 9:30, and then maybe in the middle of the day, and then maybe again in the middle of the afternoon, and maybe very quickly before you leave work, about an hour before you leave work. But you have specific times that you're checking and you stick to those. And my example is that I have a writing block that starts at 8 o'clock and it doesn't end until noon. That is my sacred time of writing, and I don't take any calls, and I also do not have meetings during that time. My meetings are in the afternoons. They can start between 12:30 and 2:30, and they're only on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This helps me keep my time nice and organized, and it keeps those boundaries tight so that I am as efficient as I possibly can be. And an additional tip here is to set a timer. So you keep on working on that task or whatever, and if you've given it an hour or 30 minutes, then after that time, your timer goes off and says, ding, it's time for you to move on to the next thing. And don't worry about it. Your inbox is still going to be there when you return to it next time. Okay, and number 3 is to practice saying no or to redirect with alternatives. Now, this can be very difficult for people, but I promise you, the more you practice saying no, the easier it becomes. And an example of a redirect is if somebody says something like, oh, hey, I sent you an email. Haven't you seen that yet? You could redirect them by saying, you know what, I checked my email earlier today and I don't typically check it for another hour. Is it an emergency? If not, I will get to it then. And the more you practice this, it will roll right off your tongue and you're being super professional. And actually, this leads me to my next action, which is to discuss your workload priorities. So, a lot of us feel overwhelmed and burned out because of our workload. We feel like there's so much to do, we can't balance it all, and we're having difficulty because everything seems like it is a high priority. So I'm going to give you an example of how to handle this. Let's say that your boss says to you, you know what, a client just emailed and I need you to call them back straight away and take care of this issue they're having. But let's say that your boss has also asked you to help him prepare for a meeting and you were gathering up materials and that meeting is happening soon. Then very professionally, you can say, I understand that this is pressing. You also asked me to prepare these materials and I'm almost finished, but I'm not quite finished yet. Since both of these are pressing issues, which one would you like me to complete first? That way, you're giving them the choice of telling you which one is the priority. And by the way, if you haven't seen my video on negotiating to get what you want at your job now, I will link it at the end of this video. I highly suggest you watch it. All right, and for the 5th action, very easy to do, is simply to model having healthy boundaries by respecting other people's limits. But I have to tell you that none of this matters if you don't stick to these boundaries. And preparation is the key here. Here's the thing. We all pretty much know which boundaries people are going to push. So be prepared with responses before you feel the pressure. And if you do, you will be certain to stick to your boundaries. You'll handle it professionally and you will feel so much more confident. Let's say that you still struggle with setting boundaries. I have to tell you, there is a deeper meaning to you not setting boundaries. And this was a hard lesson I had to learn when I was struggling with severe burnout. So I'm going to ask you this question. If you know you need to set boundaries, but you're not doing it, you feel uncomfortable setting those boundaries. Why? Do you fear that someone will be upset? Do you think that maybe people will believe you're not a team player, or that you will be alienated and you won't be put on certain projects or whatever? So in other words, are you not setting boundaries to continue being accepted and to fit in? And furthermore, do you find yourself getting upset with people because they're not respecting you and they're not respecting the boundaries that you probably haven't set, or you've not held to those boundaries? And then my final question for you is, what is this damaging? You not setting boundaries. How is it damaging you, your health, physical, mental, your burnout? What is the impact? So I want you to take control of your career today by setting clear boundaries. So which ones are you going to set? Please drop them in the comments below. And if you have other suggestions to share, please share them. I am building a community of people who are ready to walk away from sacrificing themselves and to start living life on their terms. So if this is you, please join our community by subscribing. And if you got value out of this video, please give it a like. And if you would like to watch another video like this one, or the video on negotiation that I told you about earlier, then click on the video, one of them right here, showing on your screen, and I'll see you in the next one.